Hello everybody and welcome to Poland Daily Travel. We're in Legnica. If you watch any of the previous episodes, you will know because that building has been in every one of them. That beautiful cathedral with its very exotic history under Polish Catholics and German Lutherans and Catholic Habsburgs and you name it. Been there for a long time. Now, this is the section of the town of Legnica, which is what's left of the Rennick. That's the old town market square. That's it, this side and the other side, with the theater, and we'll talk about the theater in a minute and who it's named for in another episode. But let's get through architecture first. What's interesting about these houses, these tenement houses, other than the fact that they've been lovingly preserved, and the only block of the old town that has been lovingly preserved, which is what happens when you have Russians occupying your town. You're lucky that anything exists at all because of the Russian occupation army was here. 100,000 people were here in this area from the end of the war until the early 90s, actually, when the Russian Empire Soviet Empire fell apart. Now, these are the herring houses, and they would have been, as it says, the name suggests, these would have been market stalls where people were selling their wares in the medieval times. So it was right next to the town hall, the ratusz, they call it in Polish, right? They come from the beginning of the 16th century, so it's Renaissance stuff, 1500s, and these were reconstructed, these arcades, in the 1960s. I'm reading this here. They've got these nice plaques around. They're really trying. They're trying to renovate. They're trying to get rid of the influence of the Russians, because like everything they touch, they seem to ruin the Russians unless somebody's getting paid off at the top. But for ordinary people, forget it. For soldiers, forget it. We see how their army is being treated in the Ukraine. Well, their army was based here, and they turned this place into a, very unpleasant place. And slowly, it's taken 30 years of having the Soviets and the Russians gone to just begin to really make a dent in recreating the beauty of what is one of the oldest Polish cities. What a shame. Anyway, these have all been market stalls. You saw this in, for example, Zamość or in Jelenia Góra a few episodes ago, down in the mountains, where the arcades were all around the town square. You would have had that here too. But this is what remains, this and the other side. Let's continue around. Sitting down because my feet are killing me. Did almost 25,000 steps yesterday, and my dogs are just, a little swollen, I think. That's a lot of walking. At any rate, at least I don't have to carry the camera like Vova, who is exhausted. You should see him. It's a good thing he's not on this side of the camera, because then he'd look better than me. I can't have that. Or better than I? I don't know how to speak English. At any rate, welcome back after the trailer. Hope you enjoyed the sights. This house is the oldest house of its kind left in the city. And it is a house from, it's called Under the Quail Basket, which is rather an awkward title. I suppose there's a quail basket up there somewhere. I don't see it, do you? But I love this sort of balcony thing, this sort of bay window effect on the corner here. It's very nice. And you can see all these different scenes that have been carved. This was redone in Elizabethan times. So it was in the 1300s it was built, redone in the Renaissance times. Okay? And that's interesting, isn't it? So it hasn't been redone for 500 years, but it was, or 400 years anyway. And this house was occupied during the 1300s when Poland first began to grow into a nation. When Kazimierz the Great was down in Krakow and building, you remember the fortress of Wawel, building all his castles all the way up to Jasna Góra in Częstochowa to keep the Bohemians out. Meanwhile, the Piast counts and princes were up here holding down the fort against anyone who might show up, from Mongols to Prussians to you name it. You see the different scenes here. There's a couple from Aesop's fables being retold. There are tents on the outskirts of the city. You see some people coming to the king, some supplicants, and you see well, just various country scenes. The scene of a harvest is there, and that sort of thing. Lady playing a lyre, looks like, up on the right at the top up there. These were the rabbits. That's the Aesop's tale. Rabbit and the Eagle or something like that, I believe. I don't remember my Aesop very well at the moment. Just I remember the guy in Aesop where the fellow says, I'm going to make him take his coat off by making the wind blow really hard. And he makes the wind blow really hard, and the guy just pulls his coat tighter. And then the other guy says, I'll make the sun shine. Sunshine, takes his coat off. So the easier way is the better way than trying to force people to do things, which is a good Aesop metaphor for Legnica under Russian occupation. Now you see how beautiful this is. Now, just look next to it. You see all the satellite dishes and everything. They came in here during the period of Russian occupation and just built these sort of, you know, purpose-built flats with no sense of aesthetic at all. Name a great Russian painter? There must be one. Kandinsky, but he's American. I don't know. I'll leave it to you. A great Russian painter? Writers, yes. Plenty to write about in Russia, about misery. But painters, they're not very aesthetic, the Russians, let's face it. I don't believe they are. And anyone who's been to any Russian town that isn't St. Petersburg or Moscow will agree with that, I think. At any rate, that's it for this episode. No more griping about the Russians in this episode. That's the center of the old town. But we got some really cool architecture on the next one. Plus, I'm going to tell you a story in the succeeding episode about Helena Modrzewska, who was a famous actress in Poland in the 19th century. Hey, and she became the most famous actress in London. And she became the most famous actress in America as well. The only rival to Lily Langtry. Okay, the Jersey Lily, Lily Langtry. You have to watch Judge Roy Bean with Paul Newman to know her story. Okay, that's all I got for you. Watch tomorrow night. Thank you for being with us. And we got more from Legnica, more stories of Little Moscow, Helena Modjeska, the great actress, more architecture, and the Piast Castle, which cannot be missed. One of the nicest castles in the whole of Poland. Even the Russians couldn't screw that one up.